Hello again, guys. Welcome back to the channel Mark TV, and we have another sort of a deck upgrade for the standard list with the upcoming Phyrexia All one. So this weekend is probably the pre-release weekend of the set, and yet we are still exploring some of these new cards that we can use and utilize as sort of an update attached to this existing archetype. So this one is barely known already, but I think this is sort of a tier 2 or tier 1.5 kind of list. This we call this one as the big red in standard, but I label this one as with the one as an update. As you can see here, those cards in red highlight borders are those of the new cards that we can add to this build. So just a quick description of this archetype. We just basically going to ramp up your lands and mana up until that you can cast your big spells such as Portal to Phyrexia, this threat of Cityscape Levelers, and Skitter Beam Battalion. This one. So that's basically very basic. As you go to wrap up this build, you need to control the board. So we have some spot removals and mass removals in the form of Brotherhood, and to wipe out any aggro early attack, so that we can go with the setup with these huge spells in the late game. So with this update in this build, we'll look at some of the new cards that I've considered as a potential component in this build, that one of the Phyrexia All one set. So we go first with the creatures. Okay, that's a quick rundown. The creature artifacts are let's build the creatures 12. The non-creature artifacts are 4. We have 4 enchantments, 6 instants, 3 Planeswalker with Koth, and 6 sorceries as partnered with 25 lands. So that's 35 spells and 25 mana sources for this setup for the lands. And we go first with the new card. Again, 2 Masticore. I've only considered as a 1 copy of this because there are times that might have some disadvantage in using the upkeep cost, because of the purpose that you will need to discard a card, unless if you don't, then it will be sacrificed. But the good news is that we have this very good advantage here. We have a first strike and protection for multicolored, and also a 5/5 body in that setup. And the bonus here is that once you discard a card, the discarded card would be used as a basis for destroying target non-permanent and opponent controls with that mana value less than or equal to that discarded card. So you can imagine here we have some other fodder kind of cards here that we can also discard for this. Best example here is a Cityscape Leveler, since you have also the option to unearth this card from your graveyard. So that's basically casting out this one, and the bonus of unearth is that you can basically attack at the same time whenever it's unearthed. So a bonus also destroy up to 1 target permanent and have that controller create a tap Power Stone token, but most likely your opponents will get to take 8 damage and most likely the trample effect when the unearthed leveler. So that said, we also have a good kind of a synergy of these 2 cards, and also discarding also some of your extra land cards here could also mean a good spot removal to feed the upkeep of your Argentum Master Score. So that is one option here. Next, again, 4 copies of Cityscape Levelers, since these are our late game threats in this deck, along with 3 copies of Skitter Beam Battalion. The good thing of this card is that you don't really need to go 9 to cast for the 4/4, but you have also the option to cast this one for its prototype cost of 5 and have 3 copies of 2/2. So that's basically 3 2/2 threats with haste and trample that can attack at that same turn. So along with it, I also added a new card, the Dominus of in new Phyrexia. I mean the Phyrexia All one, Solfim Mayhem Dominus. It is a 4 to cast 5/4 that is passive ability that if a source you control will deal a non-combat damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage to that player or permanent instead. So imagine you would go here that you will have some spot removals with a braid and Brotherhood's End, and also Excavation Explosion could be dealing double damage to that any target that you may have. And the bonus here is that you can also pay 1 red or pay 2 life And discard 2 cards, you will put a indestructible counter on Solfim, Mayhem, Dominos. So once it is indestructible, you would need to worry any damage source that would destroy this one. And of course, have also a 5/4 threat that can basically attack for 5 if there's an open source that it can also attack. So just the bonus of this, discarding 2 cards, is you get to this indestructible counter placed on this Mayhem Dominos. So along with it, we also added 2 copies of Transpider. So this one is sort of a utility creature because of its ability to ramp up you with the mana, because your enters the battlefield, you and target opponent each create a top person token, and at the same time, you will have a 2/4 rich creature and the ability in 7 that to look at the top 4 cards library and may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in random order. So basically, a good mana sink in the late game, also a good blocker with a 2/4 rich, and also gets you to ramp up your person tokens to get you to your big spells and the artifacts. And most probably the best choice for enchantment here is Fable the Mirror Breaker, since creating the Shama tokens would also garner your treasure tokens to ramp up. Also fix out your hand with a discard on lower counter 2, and also have shenanigans with Reflection of KGK and copying, basically copying your example is your Cityscape Leveler when it enters the battlefield and attacks, but the bosses with that when it attacks, you will get a copy of this, for example, and then with the attacks, you'll also have an 8/8 Trampler with a bonus destroy effect with that of the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And for the non-creature artifacts, it's also a support of a Saturn removal per se. Is our 3 copies of Portal of Phyrexia. This is also a removal slash support card because of its ability to get a creature card from graveyard and put it into the battlefield under your control. It becomes a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. But the good thing is that the opponent sacrificing 3 creatures would be really backbreaking in most of the late game scenario. So 2 copies of that, and also a single copy of the Might Stone and the Weak Stone will only have this purpose of having to draw 2 cards. Target creature gets -5/-5, and the good thing is that you would be able to ramp up into adding 2 colorless mana to your mana pool. Though the drawback is that you can spend to cast non-artifact spells. So not really, it's a condition here because we have several artifacts that we can use to cast with this. Now for your instance, we have 4 copies of Braid, since I would be expecting more artifact shenanigans will be used in the Phyrexia All V1 metagame. So we would need the 4 copies of this, since we would also have a good late game spot removal with destroying artifacts, and also early game for dealing 3 damage to any target creature. Next, we'd also added Big Score, a sort of a ramp up because of its ability to also give you 2 cards at a cost of 1 card, and you will also create 2 treasure tokens that you can basically use to ramp to your Cityscape Levelers or any other shenanigans. Now let us talk about the Koth Fire Resistance, which why I would consider this card added to this deck because of its ability to do this utility and ramp and make sure that you would meets your mountain card land drop, because you will get a +2 him of its loyalty. Search library for a basic mountain card, reveal it to your hand and shuffle. -3, it deals damage to the creature equal to the number of mountains you control. So with our build here of 22 mountains, we're pretty sure that the -3 ability would really hit a good damage. And also a bonus that with the Dominos in play, you will have that one in double damage also. And the emblem effect that you get where a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, this emblem deals 4 damage to your target. So basically in the late game, if not, you would be able to control, you just basically play out your mountains and use the emblem to deal 4 damage to your opponent, and up until you would get him or her to 0 life. So that is about it before we go with the lands. Our choices for the sorcery are just pretty basic in the big red setup, Border's Hoods and 4 copies. You can also deal creature, damage to creature and Planeswalker, but also deal out with shenanigan of the artifacts by destroying those with mana value 3 or less. And Excavation Explosion also that can deal 3 damage to the target, but you would be creating a 4 stone token as a reward. So although spot removal early on and also get you to ramp up your mana base for your artifacts. Now for your land, I would consider this one, aside from the mountains and two Scan is a single copy of Mirex. So this Mirex is just a spear subtype that can add one chorus mana, add mana of any color, but activate only if Mirex enter the battlefield this turn. So if you play this one, you would be able to add red to your mana pool. And the bonus of creating a 1/1 Correlate Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic by just paying 3 and tap, maybe activating it at the end of your opponent's turn so that you can have those artifact creature tokens attacking. And since this creature can block, you will just basically have them swarm up against your opponents and just take off any 1 damage. And the bonus, if we get to have this one Toxic 10 up to the 10 poison counters, then you might be able to kill them using the poison mechanic. So that's basically it. I'm pretty sure this would be a good deck to play now with the upcoming standard for Phyrexia All V1. The average mana cost, although would go with 4, so that means you would need to control early on, as you would not have a good ramp in your deck. But once you get head to the late game or you have enough mana, then your artifact spells would be really backbreaking in most of your opponent's matchups. Okay, so the tokens here, we have some copy, Goblin Shaman, Firestone, Spirit from the San, and Treasure token as produced by this one. So that's basically about it for this deck tag. I do hope you'll see this one in your next MTGO or Magic Arena gameplay with the Phyrexia All B1 now legal to play in standard. I think that's basically next week if we're posting this. And I do hope you just enjoy your Prerelease weekend as we go along with having this one as our new set as a welcome again, the Phyrexians in the standard format. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching this video and see you on the next deck tag, whether it's a standard or pioneer on this YouTube channel. And don't forget, of course, like and subscribe for quick updates of this one. Thank you for watching, and until the next time.